Yes, I came to brief him on the details of my discussion with the leaders of the. Yes, I came to brief him on the details of my discussion with the leaders of the of Niger.
Would you say your intervention was positive, successful?
Interventions are ongoing, and we'll continue to do our best to bring the two parties together to improve understanding. This is a time for public diplomacy. It's not a matter that we leave to governments. All Nigerians, all Nigerians need to be involved to find a solution that works for Africa, a solution that works for Niger, that works for Nigeria, and a solution that works for humanity.
There also reports that you took this initiative by yourself and not the government delegation.
No, I'm not the government. I'm not.
Okay.
I was not sent by the government.
Okay.
The government officials were aware I was going, but it was my personal initiative using my personal contacts to get there, and I will continue to do my best. It is my duty as a leader to do that.
Hello and welcome to the Punch Digital Studio this lovely Thursday afternoon. This is the Roundtable where we dissect issues affecting the country, even as it concerns foreign affairs as well. My name is Abiodun Adewale, and today we shall be taking a look at the military coup in Niger, among other topical issues in Nigeria. And this afternoon I am flanked by two gentlemen who will be expanding the conversation with me on the show this afternoon. To my left is my brother Fatih Hamid. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Biodun. It's amazing to be back on the show today, and I mean, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
What a time to be back, and of course, we also have Daniel Ayotoye returning on the show.
Thank you very much, Biodun. It's great seeing you again.
Of course, definitely. Perhaps this will be the first time the three of us will be rolling together on this show, and I'm very sure it's going to be a swell time as we take a look at many of these issues that we have at hand. First, you saw the video where the former CBN governor, Sanusi, talked about what his encounter with the junta in Niger, and perhaps maybe what I can call the heads up he gave to President Bola Tinubu ahead of their meeting, which had been concluded today, the ECOWAS meeting, which had been concluded today, just as we already got updates that even the military in Niger have already formed a new government, with Prime Minister Ali Mahaman Lazim leading the 21-member government, with generals from the new military government also heading the Ministry of Interiors and, of course, the defense ministries. And at the moment, too, we also understand that the president of Niger, Mohamed Bazoum, has been freed after signing an agreement with the General Abdurrahmani Tichani-led junta. So here is where we are at the moment, some of the issues that we have to face. It's no brainer that Nigeria and President Bola Tinubu is at the center of these leading peace talks, diplomatic actions, and all of that. But while all of this has been happening too, the coup in the junta in Niger have been very kind of resilient in their own way, not even giving audience to the U.S. envoy and many other Western diplomatic actions that have been taken, just as the ECOWAS has also added some more sanctions through the Central Bank of Nigeria on Niger and some other African countries, including Mali and Burkina Faso. But first, just like we said before the start of the show, let me start with you, Fatih. Diplomacy, or it is what it is?
Yeah, well, for me, I must be sincere with you. I really do not see where diplomacy will take us to as far as the coup in Niger is concerned. Why? Because if we look at the terrain, if you look at the way it is happening, it is seeming as if this is a planned work of military organization to start taking over government in West Africa, to be precise, or in Africa entirely. Look at what happened in Burkina Faso, look at what happened in Mali, and now we have Niger. Are you telling me that diplomacy has not worked in Burkina Faso and Niger since this coups has started? And what has it led us to up to this moment?
As far back as 2 years ago.
I mean, we still have these military juntas leading these countries. So I'm saying that Nigeria's government, led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should, as a matter of urgency, shed aside whatever talks that has to do with diplomacy and go in there with full force and take over the country back from these military dictators that are there. Because before you know it, these people are going to be stalling, taking time, and before you know it, a year would go, 2, 3, 4 years, and these juntas will still be the ones ruling the affairs of the country. Leave aside the fact that Bazoum has been freed, or probably we have a new government form. No, it still comes back to the fact that this country is being led by military dictators. So I really do not think that diplomacy is the way to go at the moment. I really think ECOWAS should as they have called their defense ministers to meet, or chief of army staffs to meet some weeks back. What I think they should do as a matter of urgency is for the military heads of all ECOWAS states to come together and invade Niger, take the country back from them, and return it back to civilian rule. We can't afford to be having a military coup in the 21st century. As a matter of what's it called, security, in fact, extremely close to Nigeria. I mean, look at the number of states that shares borders with Nigeria. As far as Nigeria is concerned, this is a high risk that we must not sleep while looking at it, and leave them to be having military ruling the affairs of Nigeria as a country. I really do not agree with diplomacy, please.
All right, Daniel, as risky as it sounds, President Tinubu has even made it clear that whatever position he is taking is not even the position of Nigeria. It is the position of ECOWAS, being the chairman of the group. But then, to a layman, they might just feel this is what it is, and like Amid rightly mentioned, we have state sharing border, and as a matter of fact, we have IDPs who are in Niger at the moment, and they are currently complaining about certain unbearable decisions, situations rather. But before we go deeper into that, let's look at the other side of it. President Tinubu and other ECOWAS states had a meeting today, and there was a long speech afterwards, and it points to what they will be doing from here. And how do you see all these things panning out from the Nigerian perspective, and thus tailing to ECOWAS largely?
Thank you. I think I feel so far this coup, I would say it's a test. For me, it's a test to ECOWAS, because the eventual outcome of whatsoever result they get will determine to a very great extent the relevance of ECOWAS into West Africa generally. Now, this is very important because if you look at the situation, I would say that diplomacy is the best approach so far, and what can be used, because this situation we have right now is different from whatsoever we have had in the past.
Sure.
And we also have to consider that, are we ready as a country to go to war with Niger?
Not Nigeria as a country going to war with Niger, but
Nigeria
ECOWAS
states.
states.
Of course, ECOWAS state, but Nigeria is having the forefront. Of course, anything that is said at the ECOWAS ground, of course, will definitely be attributed to Nigeria in one way or the other, because we are leading the forefront. Now, the situation is clear. We understand that, yes, as a country, as a nation, yes, they are in a situation of military coup right now. But one thing is very important. Have you seen the large turnout and the support that these military plotters, the coup plotters, have with the support they have from the people? They have a lot of support from the people within. Look, for example, if you see a video that has been on social media now, you can see a large turnout in the stadium. Now, that is one aspect of it. Okay. Another aspect is that, what is the level of acceptance within the country itself? What is the level? Because if we are not careful, we might end up fighting a battle that we really might look back and regret. And I have a reason for saying that.
In what sense?
The reason is that if you go there, right now they are already having within this country even a counter coup, a plot for counter coup. You understand that there's a position that, yes, they are going to have. Some people are already saying, yes, they are going to fight against the coup plotters. So, but very important, we need to study very well. And I think, of course, that is what the leadership of ECOWAS is looking at. I'm not taking irrational decisions.
Trying to observe
the situation. What is the level of acceptance, as I've said earlier? What are the people saying about this coup plotter? If the people are saying, we don't want this civilian rule again, and And that is because of one reason. Is he paying them or not? Now, if they are saying they don't want that again, I think since the coup plotter have come up now, we should allow them, now give them an option, opportunity. Okay, if they are going to have a rerun election, we don't know, or whatever, but it has to be done diplomatically. If not, we end up fighting a battle we are not supposed to fight in the first place.
Amit, if we are to go the other way, there are fears, especially from the Western world, to remember that in the last couple of days now, the military in Niger have not given audience to the Americans troops who came. And of course, there are also other fears that things might go the way of Mali and Burkina Faso, where there was some kind of invasion and it was kind of strengthened sort of with the way things were. So at this point, are there any fears about of Western allies that are backing the military in Niger?
You see, I need us to understand that some people do not really understand the way things are as far as having Western support or having the support of whoever. I mean, I saw some talks about Wagner Group supporting Niger. I saw some, a lot of stuff are out there on social media. But we have to understand that this Nigerians that are fearful of the fact that, oh, do we have the capacity to face a country like Russia? Do we have the capacity to? No, these things do not work this way. Nigeria is in a military agreement with even Russia itself as a country. So they can't come and invade us. When we are talking about these people being backed, I mean, they can back them. Whoever is deciding to back them should back them. I even saw some posts on social media talking about Mali and Burkina Faso saying they are pledging their support to them. But I'm telling you emphatically that in this century of ours, we are too civilized to be having military dictator ruling a country. It is abysmal. It is not anything that is sensible for us to take that risk of having military dictators ruling a country like Niger. Now let me put a very quick example. Daniel was saying that the people are happy with the military dictators that are there in Nigeria at the moment. But you have to understand also that humans, civilians, we see things from the immediacy that the things are. We think or we probably assume that these things are something that pays. I'm pretty sure that when Sani Abacha took over as a military dictator in Nigeria, there are some persons that believe, I mean, it was the best solution to Nigeria. But till today, this man is still, we are still repatriating millions and trillions of stolen funds from the Abacha regime till this moment in our country. So these are insights of things that can really dwindle down an entire country if it is left in the hands of military dictators. And at the moment, I really think that we have to do everything possible to ensure that, I mean, diplomacy, fine, but I really do not think that diplomacy is the best approach, because if diplomacy is the best approach, the Sultan of Sokoto in Nigeria visited them alongside Absalam Abubakar. I mean, these are two former military leaders, for example, that has led
yes, I came to brief him
sometimes
on
far back in their lives as well. Talk to these people, and up to today, these people have not said that, oh, we have come out and say that we are dropping down the government, or probably this is the effective position we are taking to bring in back a new government. Then the next thing I think we should do, we can't risk it. By the time you know it is with them for a month, for 2 months, these people would eventually want to be in the affairs of the government for about 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, it doesn't make any sense for me, really.
Daniel, but the accounts of these persons that went there, okay, see, we really need to get this right. We were not the one that met with the coup plotters.
But of course, we saw the results.
Of course, the outcome and what these persons that met with them, Sanusi and all the rest of the outcome of their report is that what we need is diplomacy.
So amid all of these, there are risks, especially with some Nigerians in Niger at the moment.
We have to consider how many people that will die.
So
lose their life because of
if we go in that way now, let us look at the risk of the IDPs that are there, and how much can the sanctions that have been imposed by ECOWAS on Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, how much can it do to help perhaps suppress their powers?
I think the sanction really is just, of course, is a tradition thing, of course, to give a kind of a warning of the sanction. Yes, this is for them to feel some kind of pressure. For example, Nigeria stopped about 150 megawatts of power thereabouts, stopped supplying them power, electricity, of course. Now, that is to allow them have a kind of a rethink that
So
they are losing this thing, they are losing this thing.
Do you think
but
electricity is what?
One thing is very important, please. I mean, you need to understand. One thing is very important, that amid all this sanction is a message. That's the message for them to know that they are losing a lot of support. And by so doing, they don't have the backings of a lot of people, neighboring countries. Meanwhile, don't let us forget one thing, that this sanction ends up affecting the people. The so-called coup plotters, they are probably in the government house or somewhere enjoying
You see, the point you just raised now is actually against the point you made earlier, that the people are happy. If sanctions are going to be directly affecting the people of the country, then we should
not be happy.
Exactly. We might, at the end of the day, it is not to their own. It is to their detriment.
The sanction they know was given because of the coup plotters.
Of course, why
Now,
would they be given because of the coup plotters?
Their sufferings before the sanction has been for a very long time.
Yeah,
which
then the suffering would
gentlemen,
even be multiplied with the sanctions.
Gentlemen,
France
which I think
has taken so much advantage of them as they believed, of course, and they believe that a lot of things
For
that is
years
happening,
and
they
years
have been
to
suffering from
years.
them.
so if we
Countries
put,
have taken advantage of
gentlemen,
countries.
If we put the masses in the middle of all this now, then it makes us wonder why did this coup come up in the first place?
And that is why I'm saying there's no. See, if you are enjoying something, okay, you are enjoying the dividends of democracy. You will support, you will back the democracy. You will fight for the democracy. The reason why I believe so many of them are currently supporting the military now is that they have not enjoyed the dividends of democracy.
Well, for that, maybe they would have even thought of a revolution themselves. Maybe there was nothing they could do. Maybe they are just happy that this is happening, but I'm not sure. No one can really tell how much they will be willing, how far they will be willing to go with the military as well. But well, let's just keep our fingers crossed and see what the ECOWAS will come up with in the days ahead, and let's see if there will be some form of resolution at about where power is going to be in Niger Republic. The ECOWAS has met today, but of course we expect that actions will come up in the coming days as regards finding a solution to the situation in that country, just as many Nigerians in thousands are talking about internally displaced persons from bordering states in Niger, from Borno, Sokoto and all of them are there, while it's also affecting economic activities in those areas as well. Let's just keep our fingers crossed and come back home a little bit now and talk about some other national issues that are affecting Nigerians as well. In the last days, so to say, we've been having names of people going through the red chamber for screening, taking bows and all of that. And in the process, the Senate eventually said they've been able to confirm a number of persons, but left out 3 names, including the former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, for security reasons. But as at yesterday, Rufai, as well as the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, who was also one of the ministerial designates of President Tinubu, were at the State House yesterday to meet the president as regards the screening and confirmation. And from what we have, what we heard after the meeting, it might just be a matter of this before he is confirmed as well. But it brings to question a lot of things as regards the personality of Malam Nasiru El-Rufai. What security check could have led to this point where a question mark could be hanging over his head when it comes to confirming him as a minister designate?
You see, there's something that we always say, that the sins that one has had in the time past, the later ends up coming after, is one of those things. And this is politics. And if you monitored the process of the screening, you find out that at some point, some people had to be raising questions, some senators rather, had to be raising questions about some things that has happened in the past. Look at the case of Boson and all the rest of them. Now, I think for that of the former El-Rufai, we had situations where he had uttered a lot of things, a lot of words that has to do with the security of this country, the unity of this country, and the petition is up. And the senator asked, listen, I have a petition against you.
The man from
according to him said, I have a strong petition, strong. So, you know, for that situation and the procedure of the Senate is, when there is a petition like that, you don't address it there. That whatsoever petition has to be treated separately. And that is why I think but, you know, politics, there will be this lobbying in, lobby out, and I feel strongly that that is what El-Rufai went to do with the president.
All right, Daniel. I mean, talking about politics, there are insinuations that some of these things have things to do with the presumed ambition of Nasiru El-Rufai. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, maybe not in the next 4 years, but there are premonitions, there are assumptions that it could have something to do with that. Could he be paying that price that early, but eventually it might even be confirmed?
Well, I must be sincere that I know therein in me that there will be a point when El-Rufai will be confirmed as a Minister of the Federal Republic. However, we have to understand the situation that surrounds him being questioned on a lot of security checks. Look at his administration. He served in Kaduna State for 8 years as governor, right? And look at what Southern Kaduna has turned into. I mean, within that time. This is a place where we have domiciled a huge number of Christian community in Kaduna State. And the security situation in Southern Kaduna is getting terrible day by day.
Under his watch.
Under his watch. Under his tenure as the governor of the state. This brings a lot of questions. Even if there are not issues that are of the past or things that he has uttered as far as the national unity is concerned, Southern Kaduna alone is enough, I mean, to paint him as a Minister of the Federal Republic. This is a man who has come publicly to say that Christians are this and Christians are that. As a governor of a state, ruling over people who are Christians, who are traditionalists, who are Muslims, and you come out to utter statements that can cause disunity in the country, that have caused disunity in the state, and his statements alone started a weeks of revolt against people of Southern Kaduna, and they got the heat of it in numbers. The people were killed. People were, let me use the word, massacred in Southern Kaduna over the years. These are issues, important issues that we have to look into as a nation. I mean, we can't just go ahead and ratify someone who is having a huge number of things like that on his neck and make him a Minister of the Federal Republic. So let me just, let me put you on the spotlight from that. If you were in the red chamber, would you be confirming someone like El-Rufai? Trust me, if I was to be in a situation to make a decision for El-Rufai to be confirmed as the Minister of the Federal Republic, I would not allow that. I would not allow him to be confirmed as I'm a Muslim, and I will forever be a Muslim. But against what happened or what had transpired in Southern Kaduna under his watch, it's enough for me to reject his nomination as a Minister of the Federal Republic. I mean, he's not so. I do not personally think he's fit enough to even be. I mean, he came that day to be talking about the defense of Nigeria. We don't even know which office. That was what pained me most, was the fact that someone as culpable as El-Rufai could come out to discuss Nigeria's security. Was it situation? Talking about defense and all of that. That man is not fit nearing anything with regards to security. From their screening, you realize that most of them were talking about things that would really fit into their agenda or positions they would fit into. Look at Bosun when he came to discuss about his minister. You would see that, oh, probably this one is going to be the Minister of Digital Economy or something. Then El-Rufai came to talk about defense. So supposedly, it looks as if this man will be someone in charge of Nigeria's defense. This man is not fit. Southern Kaduna is a mess at the point, and I really strongly think that it should be scrapped totally. I was reading a rumor supposedly yesterday that's saying that there are suggestions that El-Rufai should step down as a minister of the Federal Republic. I strongly think that he should step down as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He's not fit.
Daniel, I know you write a lot about politics, and from whatever it is in politics, he did not some, if not a lot, he did some works to ensure that President Tinubu emerged as the president of Nigeria. He's going to get his reward, isn't it?
That's why, again, we'll still continue to say it shouldn't be this system of reward system, you know. Nigeria has gone beyond this stage. We have a lot of problems in this country that to now be saying we are rewarding some people.
We reward politicians.
We reward politicians. Of course, like my colleague has said, is very important that we don't just mess around with the future of this country. Because look at the man we're talking about. If the president is now considering that, of course, we don't know, it's still a speculation that maybe the president is looking ahead, future and all that. But the truth has to be said. If you are looking ahead of future and you bring in people into the government that will destroy the first term
with such track record,
then you will not have anything to
so let's move beyond El-Rufai now, but still on the ministerial nominees and designates. I saw some certain things about the personalities that came forward. Some members of the Senate were even ministerial nominees, and some of them, after appearing before the Senate, went back to their seats, still asked questions from other nominees that appeared. And although it makes me wonder how all these things go around within the political space, and what happens to the seat. To a layman will want to understand what happens to their seats if they eventually leave their seats, go to the Senate, or is it that they will undo the Senate and also undo their portfolio as a minister?
This is okay. This is Nigeria, really. Like I've always been saying, this is Nigeria, and we are in a situation of anyhowness, okay, and a situation where anything goes. Now, well, we can't really, ordinarily, as the appointments, you have been appointed. The next phase is that even during the screening, you should, before the screening, say, yes, probably I resign, whatever, and all that, resign the position and begin to now
vacate the elective position that you hold.
Just allow another person to now look for a way to fill in that space. But of course, we have seen what have happened in the past, where a person will be contesting as a senator and at the same time will be contesting as a president. It happens in Nigeria. Now we have seen the situation. So I really think the best bet is for us to just say we need to stop a lot of things in this country.
Let me quickly ask you this as well. You mentioned you paid attention to what most of these nominees spoke about while appearing before the Senate. Did you see from their speeches, did you see round pegs, potential round pegs in the roundos that we have?
Yeah, as I said, I think I tweeted a couple of days ago. I was talking about the fact that it's just the repetition of the same cycle of politicians and not the supposed technocrats that we thought that were going to have filled the ministerial list of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I would say the standout so far in the ministerial list that was screened by the Senate is probably Wale Edu and Bosun Tijani. I mean, bar the issues he has personally with the Senate or the things that he probably has said against the Federal Republic. But I really think that those two are standouts for me. I really feel that they are persons who are going to really deliver on their mandate, or their supposed mandate, so to say. So I really look forward to what those two are going to achieve as ministers of the Federal Republic. Yes.
All right, let's move away from politics now and go to governance as it concerns our country, Nigeria. Over the last months now, the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, has been raising the dust with the federal government when it comes to improving the livelihoods of workers and even Nigerians as it concerns everybody in the face of the current economic situation. First of all, with the removal of the fuel subsidy, it became almost difficult. The impact was telling directly on almost every part of the economy, and they have threatened protest and strike actions. And while the NLC have been able to table after several meetings as well, the Resident Doctors Association have also had their own in the last couple of days too, and it brings us to this point where we are. Now we have to deal with a whole lot of people actually, but then these are two bodies, two key bodies that are now taking it to the federal government. And at this point, it appears that the NLC, although the national protest that they planned, went ahead with it, didn't continue. The resident doctors too suspended their strike, but say by Friday, which is tomorrow, they will also be coming out to whether decide to continue or to start the strike or to suspend their actions. The federal government has a lot in its hands these days, I must say. President Tinubu has to attend to ECOWAS and still has to attend to all of these things. Meanwhile, while he has seconded his chief of staff to attend to NLC, now they've rejected him. Where do we go from here?
I think every of these things has to do with the level of governance, and everything started from the removal of subsidy.
Mm-hmm.
And for so many reasons, a lot of these organizations will also be considering the fact that they have been hit by the
everyone has been hit.
Everyone. The removal of subsidy. So, and that's the reason why every of the organizations coming out, okay, this is what we need, this is what we need. And don't let us forget, we all know the take-home of the senators and all the politicians and all that. So these reasons is enough for people to begin to clamor. Now, but very important to note is that the rejection of the former speaker, Amila, the chief of staff, might be reasons based on the negotiation. Every other persons they are having, every other organization they are having their discussions and all that. And you don't forget there was a time there was a rejection for I think that was the former Minister of Education. Yes, there was a rejection. So, but really at this present time, they would have made that decision to reject him because of one disagreement or the other. And for that of the president having a lot of things in his hand, of course, that's why he's our president. And that's why one thing I will do is we'll also commend him, because at the time he had to meet with during the protest. After the protest, met with the labor leader, somewhere that just traveled and all that, came back. He had to meet with the labor leaders and had to do a lot of meetings. Of course, that's the reason why we elected him as president, to attend to all the situations. First,
not just to attend to profile solutions.
Yes, we attend to it, profile solutions. Anyway, I'm not the spokesperson but to profile to it, but it's really one thing. The major reason why the people are complaining, the resident doctors are complaining, is about their welfare. And that same thing is applicable to the common man in the streets. Mm-hmm. Because everyone is affected by this, the current hardship in town.
All right, Fatih, what the NLC said was that the chief of staff has been too busy to attend to some of the things that they have, and on Tuesday they rejected the chief of staff to the president, Amila, as the head of the federal government team that will negotiate with the labor unions over subsidy removal palliatives. According to him, he has been too busy to call for a meeting, adding that the president, Tinubu's wage award committee, has yet to sit almost 2 months after the fuel subsidy removal. The labor leaders were in the Senate to meet with its leadership as well and table all these things before them. And on the other hand too, the resident doctors have given the minimum requirements to suspend their intended strike action.
Well, to be very sincere with you, I think the NLC in Nigeria is a joke.
How so?
They are a joke. For a labor union, it has turned to an avenue for politicians to manipulate them into their own desires. Look at the days of old when we had someone like Oshiomhole,
who is not a politician.
Who is now a politician, obviously, of course. But we are talking about the Oshiomhole in the labor now, as the one in the affairs of the labor. Those were people who were genuinely fighting for the benefits of Nigeria. But when we have situations where the Labour Congress is being used as a tool by some specific, what's it called, political party in the country, you don't expect the ruling party to pay attention to them. They won't give them much relevance. Why? Because they are being used as a tool by some other political party against the current administration. You understand? So if the president has what's it called, put in his own trust in his chief of staff, who is a former speaker of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, don't forget, to undo the negotiation with them, and they are rejecting him. What do they mean? They are saying that the president should be the one to sit directly with them. Then you should know that these people are a joke, because they are being manipulated by a political party or some political parties or some political what's it called, minds to to fight against the government of the nation. However, in the case of the resident doctors, I strongly think that the federal government should, as a matter of urgency, as a matter of swiftness, take action to ensure that they do not go on strike.
Because of brain drain and all of
this is, aside from the fact that we have brain drain in the country, which is already plaguing us at the moment. I mean, personally, I have friends of mine who are doctors, about 7 of them who have left Nigeria.
Health workers generally.
Health workers generally. I can't count the number of nurses who I have personally that are my friends in the last 3 years that have left this country. These are already issues that is plaguing us in the health sector of the country. Important issues. Then we want to risk doctors going on strike? I mean, that would be crazy.
In all of these, Hamid, we've seen that the resident doctors and even the NLC, one of the things they've said before and even after their protest is that after meeting with the federal government, they decided to shelve their plan so that it doesn't look like after meeting with them, they still go ahead with the planned protest, so that it doesn't look like they are being funded by some elements.
That's what I'm saying, that if you look at the situation of the resident doctors, you would see that there is common sense there. And when you look at the situation of NLC, you will see that there is a tool that is involved with in NLC's case. And the resident doctors met with the federal government, right? And this same negotiation was headed by, I'm not even sure it was by Jamila that headed the negotiation with the resident doctors. But then they are coming out to say that, okay, because of the fact that we have met with you, we are going to be shelving away the plans for us to do whatever we have intended to do before. Then let us go back to our work and, do what is right. For example. But then people like NLC, that personally, I do not think that their decisions hold water in the situation of things.
Okay, I mean, whether or not there's an agenda, is it not to press on their demands eventually?
We really need to get things right. I would not agree with you. I disagree. Totally disagree with you to say NLC is a joke. Okay, every union there is a procedure. You don't expect a union that has protested, had a meeting with the president, to go ahead with a strike. What they need to do is to come back home and tell their members, this is what we agreed at the meeting. And they will now agree to either go to strike or not. There is always a procedure, and this is very important, and we really need to take note of it. Decisions in a union as big as NLC is not taken in such a hurry. They had a meeting with the president. They went out to protest. If they didn't come out to protest, don't forget, before now, immediately the subsidy was removed. A lot of people were shouting that, where's the NLC? They should have gone out to protest. But we saw the protest. We saw what happened in every state. They came out in their mass to protest. Even in Oyo State, we saw how they went out. You remember, even during the protest, they had to pull down the gate, which of course I condemn that, the gate of the National Assembly. It was because they want to press out their demands.
Yeah.
If they are a joke, as you rightly said, those things wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have taken up to that place. But I was so happy because at the level at which even the protest was so high, it was still peaceful.
Daniel, very quickly. I need to let you know that whether they are being used as a tool or they are not being used as a tool, primarily, this is what they are meant to do, right? To fight for people who are workers in Nigeria. I mean, we have, as a newspaper ourselves, we have put out, our columnists have put out what on the need to have minimum wages increased, on the need to provide palliatives for people, post-subsidy removal, and all of those
So
things.
how long
Yes,
does it take for
we
all
are
this
doing
to
this
happen?
thing. You understand? But I am saying that if you look at the terrain, looking at what has happened pre-election and what has happened post-election, the NLC that we have at the moment is compromised. It is not the NLC that we used to have in the past. So if the NLC is compromised, the NLC is a joke.
Well, personally, I would also say that a lot of things. I would also say that a lot of things have changed, and that even dovetails into what we're about to discuss next, as we try to round up the show as quickly as possible. Let's go straight into federal character, a commission that was set up to ensure that there is this level of balancing and equality when you are talking about absorbing people into different MDAs and agencies in the country. But some days ago, there was some kind of revelation. I don't know how shocking it might be, but then a former aide to the chairperson of the Federal Character Commission revealed that he had been receiving cash, money, so to say, in bribes for people seeking employment into different MDAs, while he himself also got rewarded by the chairperson with another employment into the AMCON as well. So it's been a lot of this and that in the talk about, should I say they've been sitting on the hot seat for the past 2 days or thereabouts now, but then to what effect, Daniel? To what effect eventually?
I think the Senate has really done well by setting up a special committee on job racketeering. Of course, this has been an issue for a very long time. And of course, we know it's not only the Federal Character Commission that is involved in this. Virtually all agencies, MBAs, and all sectors, there's this one level of job racketeering or not. But this time around is about the fact that money was involved in exchanging of money. Is not about the slot aspect. The other aspect is the slots. You say, okay, given different slots. Even at the level of the Senate, of course, there are one level or the other that slots is involved. But so painful is that we had to be going through this. It has a global attention to the fact that there is this allegation flying up and down about job racketeering. And selling out jobs is one of the problems we have in this country. Don't forget that there had been, should I call it a ban on job recruitment in the civil service. I think that should be since 2018 thereabouts. And if that is in place and we are now having this situation that people are now selling jobs, I think what is the essence of having such a ban in the first place? So very important, very important.
Fatih, that takes us to unemployment. That it's so high, and the indices is so high in the country. But amid that too, even those that are supposed to be in high places can take huge amount of money in exchange for few people that could afford to pay for it.
Well, when a few weeks after, a few weeks after the Tinubu administration started, there was a release or a memo, so to say, that there is an employment agency. I think I had an interview with the former president of the former minister of communications and former minister of communication, Adeba Ashitu. I think it was last year. And he was talking about, he was sharing an experience about the fact that when he was younger, when he was done with school, he had to go to each state as a national employment agency, that as a graduate you just have to go and drop your name, drop your qualification, then the agency would call you when a job is available, or when you get there, if you are lucky, there are already available jobs. Then they will just tell you, okay, we have this. He told me there was MTEL at the time available for him. There was customs. His dad was telling him not to use custom, but to go for MTEL, which he later did. Now, when Tinubu administration came in, I think one of the first things they did was to try and reinvigorate this agency for us to have in every state. And they said, if I could remember clearly, that unemployed youths should go to the their local government or I think I can't remember the full details of the memo I saw now. They should go and register their names in those agencies so that when jobs are available, they are going to be plugged to those jobs. Now, this is the first thing about unemployment in Nigeria. Number one is that when memos like this are released, youth will not take it serious. Then, when these things are too available for a lot of time, without people feeling it, then there won't be a way where the people who are in charge that are supposed to fill people into the job would not tell someone they know that, oh, yeah, come up here and let me give you this job and get you money. Then we have to ensure that in respective states, unemployed youth should know this is where to go to put in my name to get a job. That is the first thing to do. That is the thing we should be preaching out there so that people would have available information to make use of. So when we have this thing, when they have enough people looking for job, and in fact they have no huge number of people without jobs to give to them, there won't be racketeering. These are part of the solution. I strongly think that would help us get to a long way in tackling this very problem that we have about racketeering. Also, I need to state that the fact that we do not have set out punishment for certain offenses in the country, whereby when these things happen, you just hear that these issues has got what's it called, buried somehow. We need to have punishment. I was jokingly saying it some time ago that the reason why we still have something like kidnapping in Nigeria or armed robbery is because the governors are not signing what's it called, death of criminals again. If we still have situations whereby someone is still placed at the back of a truck and the person is shot to death and it is televised, people will be scared to thief.
Well, in this century, I doubt if that will happen in any government of the world.
Well, I know that anyways, but I was just saying.
But with the way things are, what a way to bring the conversations to a close. We've had talks around governance and politics, and have been particularly torn between diplomacy and the other side of it on the show. Gentlemen, it's been a very wonderful time with you guys. Daniel, your parting shot as we head on.
Yes, I think at this point we have had it. It's very important that the governments do the necessary things. There's hardship in the country. The governments need to ensure that the necessary palliative is rolled out as quick as possible. Then for that of the issue of the corruption, like my colleague said, it's not about the punishment. There is punishment, there is a law, but the problem we have is implementation of some of these laws, and very important. And we need to ensure that whoever has committed any crime is brought to book. Very important. Very,
very important. Fatih, your parting shot?
Yeah, thank you so much, Biodun. I strongly think that at the moment, with the way the economy situation of the country is, what is most important for the federal government to do at this moment is to ensure that they immediately review the minimum wage. If the minimum wage is reviewed in the country, yes, it is going to go a long way in solving some of the problems that we have as far as economy is concerned. I was coming to work today. Immediately I got to the building and I realized that the number of cars that we have in the building was scanty. Yeah. I just smiled. I was like, God, people do not have money to buy fuel. That is the situation of the country at the moment. So we need to have to admonish the government that they should take the matter of the review of the minimum wage as seriously as possible.
And
they should quickly as possible to ensure that it is implemented and ensure that state governments across board also implement the new minimum wage, that this will be reviewed. And I strongly think that if this is done, we are going to have the country moving in the right track. Thank you so much, Biodun.
But thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you to you for being there over the course of this conversation. There's been so many questions. There's been so many talks around all the issues affecting the country. And of course, love and light to the people of Niger Republic in the presence of the current military junta that is taking over the government of the country. The Roundtable returns next week. My name is Abiodun Adewale. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.
Somebody we want to see. We want to see. Here at the government house and Ludensi roundabout to spend some seconds to hear ourselves so that we will know that indeed this is not a problem.
Àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ oníná wọ́n wà níbi tó dé dúró lónìí tí kì í bá ṣe bá ń fọ́jẹ̀gbọ̀n wọ́n ti fẹ́ fowó tí àbá bọ́ta lónìí wọ́n bá ti fún owó iná ṣùgbọ́n ìjáde wáyé ó sì ń dẹ́rù bà wọ́n.